Hello everybody and welcome to the MLittleProgramming tutorial. So what is a nested while loop? A nested while loop is when you define a while loop inside a while loop. This can be useful, for example, when you've got two different counters that you need to manipulate. What you have to be careful with nested loops is that you don't create an infinite loop. So we're going to create two variables, I and j. These are going to be two counter variables. We're going to initialize both of these to 0. We're going to define our outer while loop as while I is less than 10. Inside this outer while loop, we're going to increment I by 1. Then, on the same incrementation level, we're going to define our inner while loop. The inner while loop is going to run while j is less than 2. Inside the inner while loop, we're going to increment j by 1. Next, outside the inner while loop, but still inside the outer while loop, therefore on the same indentation level as the inner loop declaration, we're going to reset j to 0 on every iteration. I'm also going to add two print statements so I can explain what's going on when we run this. So what happens when we run this while loop? As you can see, we enter the outer loop, incrementing I by 1. Next, we enter the inner loop. We iterate through this loop until j is greater than 2, so we iterate through this loop twice. Once j is greater than 2, we exit the inner while loop, moving on to the next line where we reset j to 0. We keep iterating through the while loops in this fashion until I is no longer less than 10, so 10 times. Let's get onto a more complex implementation of nested while loops, and that is this running example. We're going to count the amount of steps we're doing per amount of distance. We're going to say that there are 1,000 steps in a kilometre. So inside this while loop that is currently checking if a runner is tired, we're going to add another while loop. This while loop is going to add a step to our total number of steps for every iteration of the inner while loop. So to set this up, we're going to create two new variables, one steps variable that is going to track our current steps within this distance, and total steps, which is obviously going to be our running total. So we'll create an inner while loop that says while steps is less than 1,000, keep going. Inside this while loop, we're going to add one step to our running step counter and one step to our total step counter. This differs from the first nested loop example. This is because in this example, we don't have to reset our counter when we leave the nested while loop, as we're using the steps counter to decide if we should re-enter the loop or not, and a separate total counter that we're actually using to work out how many steps we're on, but that doesn't impact the while loop logic. We'll add a few print statements in the outer loop so that we can see the total steps and distance going up as the while loop runs. So if we run this now, and we see that as we run this while loop, the steps is increasing along with the distance. And that just about wraps up this video on nested while loops. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you got a lot of value from it. If you would like more Python programming tutorials, there is a link in the top right now, and a link in the description down below to a playlist of Python programming tutorials. With that said, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like as it really helps the channel, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you've got any questions, drop a comment down below and I'll get back to you.